One heart, one destiny, Sudan. One love, one heart, one destiny, Sudan. Every time I sit down and I pray, pray that my people see the light one day. Love to this out can be on my way. Mashifit Tariq Bangataja. Justice is what we fight for. Pray that my people see the light one day. Love to the north can be on my way. Mashifit Tariq Bangataja. One love, one heart,
Lord,
one
hello.
destiny to that.
We are here again, another online one,
Yep.
because this gentleman is all the way in the motherland, so we had to give you an online one. We're here with
Come on.
Jindi.
Yeah, man.
Indeed.
Big up to my people.
Yeah, man, and thank you for reaching out, and we love the contact. Like, we want to speak with a lot of Africans as well, you know. And Jindi is a Sudanese singer, songwriter, composer, and he's based in none other than Dubai. Them say the richest city in the world. Him do Afro-fusion, him do funk, him blend all of them with soul, pop, R&B, reggae, and dancehall. You know, you can tell how much a person loves music by the amount of genres of music with them infused in it. You get what me I say? Him
Yeah, man.
release him first EP, 2019, with hits like Dance Floor and Reggae Pop, Midnight Love, featuring Zimbabwe and MC Smiley. You know,
Yeah, man. Big up
he's
to
been
my man.
on
Definitely.
many of the charts as well. So we're there with Jindi, and we are get an understanding of the Afro music scene. Like, we're talking to a lot of Jamaican artists about like Afro beats and all them things that are reach, and how Afrobeat are compete with dancehall. If there's a competition, is there a symbiosis? So we are getting to the nitty gritty of that. You see me? So, Jinde, the first question normally is, who are you? Or what is your purpose?
First of all, thank you guys again for having me. I mean, I've been watching the space as well, so big up to what you guys are doing. I'm just like a soul that kind of want to make a change, whether it's big or small. And music has been my passion for so many years, and I would say Jindy is a good vibe ambassador. Everywhere I go, I try to like blend in with the culture, with the people, and see how I can add, and also take and kind of just tell the stories of of both worlds. Be more like a bridge between cultures. So yeah, I mean, it's been a quite a journey. In the Middle East and Africa and outside. I think music has taken me to places I could only dream about. And once I started going and doing all these performances or interviews as well, I became to realize that it's bigger than the music. It's more than that. It's just a way for me to spread that good vibe and good energy. So yeah, I would say I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and I'm blessed.
Yeah.
What was your calling to do music? Did you get a calling?
I would say like from a young age, like I had this thing in me, like with my pops and all, and like the music that was flowing in our house, whether it's Sudanese traditional music or like Bob Marley songs, but I felt like every time I would go and perform on stage, I'd feel something, like something that's kind of, a message. So that has always been like my approach in terms of like writing music or practicing with the band. And I felt like music is that kind of one thing that connects everyone's together, regardless of your background. So I feel like that has been my calling, is to like be in the in the presence of like other people, and just playing my part. It's I felt like something different. And the other calling, I would say, when I went to Shashamani,
Ah,
the guy started raining
Shashamani.
in Ethiopia. When it started raining, bro, I felt like something good was gonna happen.
Yeah. What was that trip
that
like?
that
What
was
was your trip?
spiritual calling.
What was that trip like for you to Ethiopia? Going to,
Cairo,
yeah, all those places.
Nairobi, all of these
I
places.
mean,
What was that journey like?
it has been quite a journey, bro. Like the last time we did, like a show in Addis Ababa, just like seeing someone from Japan, performing reggae music, someone from Australia, like different parts of the world, and that's the kind of thing, that always drew me to reggae music. Is because the reach of reggae music has been like all over the world. And the thing you mentioned about Afrobeat and reggae, I feel like it's all, we just, pushing the cultures forward. And like for instance, I had, the privilege of going to Nigeria, working with a lot of producers. But also if you go to like East Africa, you go to Kenya, Uganda, dancehall and reggae is like massive that side, and you have artists coming there, big artists. We did the show in December, and it was with Shinsia, Ali Kiba, and like it's just the love is all over, because Swahili spoken there, but the love for reggae music, and even the artists there that push a lot of dancehall and traditional genres, like they have there in Kenya, like gengeton. It's just amazing to see like the blend. And I don't think there is that kind of debate. I think it's just like some things that people put up on the media, but if you go down and see that performance, for instance, everyone is just lined up to watch good music. You know what I'm saying?
Mm. And
So
so
yeah.
in Sudan, what's the native kind of music in Sudan? Like when I think I've never heard, honestly, personally, I've never heard a Sudanese song like in my life.
Mm,
Believe it or not, but
wow.
because in Jamaica we have our dancehall, reggae, yeah, all stuff that originated. What originated in Sudan? Like what kind of music form?
Yeah, what's
Sudan is very
tradition?
diverse. I mean, you have music in the western part, which is, quite different. You have music in the center. You have music in the northern part. You have music in South and East Sudan, and everything has a different influence. Like if you look at the western part, it's more affiliated with like Nigeria and Nigeria and these parts. If you go to the north, it's almost like the southern Egypt type of, common with the southern Egypt, which is the Nubia region. If you go to western Sudan, we have a lot of music that's related with like Ethiopia and Eritrea, like regions like Kassala, and Gadarif and other states of Sudan. If you go to South Sudan, there's a lot of zouk, but there's also traditional music, so it's very diverse. I can't really tell you like one specific, sound, but it's just diverse and it's beautiful, like there's so many legends like Muhammad Wardi, Mahmoud Abdul Aziz, and other legends that kind of shaped, like the music in Sudan through different times, and take you back like to the 40s and 50s music. Like if you hear the sound of violins, that's you kind of feel homesick. Wherever you're from, even if you're coming from Trinidad, or you're listening to, the song from India, you'll definitely feel some type of way when you hear that kind of music. So I feel like music is kind of a fusion of different cultures, because if you look at Sudan also historically, the northern part of Sudan has like over 200 pyramids, which was built by the Black Pharaohs. So that
Yeah.
kind of also tells you a lot like about the origin as well of like black people, and how this huge civilization came about, and how it also brought like a lot of innovation, but not only in music, but also in culture and in architecture and in steel and different kind of stuff. So yeah,
Mm.
man, it's diverse, I would say.
And like most of the places that you've been to in Africa, right? Would you say that, for example, are there like facilities, for example, are there stadiums where people go to enjoy music, or is it something where they would turn like a football stadium, for example, into a venue to hold these concerts? Or are there music halls, for example, in all the places that you go to?
There are, I mean, like going to Kenya, you have like obviously stadiums, you have like also open spaces that they do like, open concerts. There's also a lot of facilities in South Africa. Rwanda actually, like now they're hosting like a lot of, like concerts. They have like venues, dedicated to that. So I feel like definitely there's a huge potential in Africa now in the motherland, and yeah, man, I feel like there's a lot of, like infrastructure being built, especially for entertainment.
And do you feel like African artists are being, compensated enough for what they're doing? In Africa, are they more profitable in Africa or outside of Africa? Now you're based in Dubai, and when people think of Dubai, they think of the cheddar, they think of the
Yeah,
good and stuff.
I mean, even in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and Oman, like I've been touring, and I feel like reggae has been a very good kind of outlet for me to express, and also to, promote the sound, because there's a lot of promoters and DJs that's pushing the culture, and they've been doing it here for many years.
Mm.
I've done a tribute show to Bob Marley on the 2nd of May in 2019, and that was in Oman. So even places you wouldn't even think like, like you might think like, oh, reggae is like it's not as big as that part. It's going. Dancehall is big. And like coming back to like what you mentioned about having the profitability in Africa when it comes to music. Definitely 100% there's a huge potential, but it's just like you need to first build kind of yourself as an artist, as a band, if you're coming up from there. I mean, being raised on this side of the world, I kind of took a route where like it's usually the other way, like going to Europe, doing shows in Europe. So I kind of reversed it because I wanted to see and actually see how I can contribute, in Africa. And that's not only just by music. Again, there's so much to do. There's so much to do, and I feel like the younger generation, or like the youths now, have a duty as well to kind of come back and see how we can all kind of elevate, because the biggest artists have been coming to South Africa for so many years, whether it's from the US or like wherever, and they've been doing like crazy sold out shows. So I think when it comes to profitability, definitely, I mean, Beyonce coming to South Africa, like years back, I mean, that's quite a testament, right? So
Yeah.
definitely.
What are the artists that people want to see? What are the reggae artists that people want to see in Africa but have not been?
Yeah.
And why do you think they haven't been there?
Reggae artists, I think that like Chronix did a lot of shows in Kenya. He's like he's done a lot of shows. You also have
Sizzla.
uh of course
Sizzla
Sizzla, hundred
sometimes
percent.
to Gambia, yeah.
Yeah, and then they've been talking about getting vibes as well to Nairobi. There's a huge following, there as well. And yeah, like there's a lot of like artists that come often. I mean, when I went to Shashamani, and like shout out to everyone there. Like I sat down with a group of like people that are from the Bob Marley era, and when I sat down, everyone was just playing dominoes around me. I'm just sitting there like a student. I'm just like watching the vibe, and I'm asking them about like different slangs, that came out of Jamaica, and I was like, have this word, did it come like recently? Like some words that the youths are using now. And then the guy looks at me and he's like, nothing is new, man. Nothing is new.
It's just
So
evolve.
Yeah.
yeah, 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 100%. And these like some of them were like people that came with Bob when he came like in the 80s. Like he I think he, like what I heard from the stories, like he came back in, I think 81 or so.
Mhm.
And like when he came, he used to go to this place where like like they have like hot springs in Shashamani. Like it's almost like a place for like like getting yourself like he's basically. So I think all these stories have also kind of inspired me to see like people that actually come from the Caribbean and reside there. Reside in a place like Zimbabwe or Shashamani or wherever.
True.
What are some of the biggest slangs that they're using there in Africa, in like in the music? And do you incorporate you? I'm guessing you want to know these songs to incorporate them in your music, right? And how to do that?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like, I have a couple words obviously that I like. Obviously, Wagwan is something that everyone knows, but again, you got like Holland, all these words.
Yeah.
But I feel like the like it's just a way, like it's beautiful that to see like the food, the slang, the music has been able to kind of bridge all these things together. So definitely, like in a day-to-day life, you'd see people incorporating like patois or different dialects basically. And yeah, I hope one day like our language can go to that part of the world as well, and like build that bridge that we were looking for, because I feel like having something between the motherland and the Caribbean, we definitely have one destiny, and that's why I wrote this song, One Love Sudan. It's because I believe that we have the similar destiny. Whether you're from like the Caribbean or you're from Africa, but I wanted to start in Africa first, and then see how we can build. And honestly, my trips to back home since I was a kid has been nothing but inspiring, because I had a lot of like people that kind of like showed me the way, and also in terms of like going to Zimbabwe. When I went to Zimbabwe in 2019, 2020, and that was like right before lockdown. I went with my good friend MC Smiley, who's been pushing the culture, and he actually kind of was one of the first people that elevated a new genre that's called Zim Dancehall. Zim Dancehall is a mix, is a blend of like dancehall music and like Shona. Shona is like one of the languages that's spoken in Zimbabwe. And me coming with him to Zimbabwe as
Wow.
soon as we landed, it was like the first time I see like a real life celebrity and I'm with him. You know what I'm saying? And that
Yeah.
love you can't really, get on media and stuff. So that was genuine love out there. And we shot the video for Midnight Love, one of my songs I did for my EP. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences. I mean, you go to a place called Domboshova Rocks, which is like a scientific kind of a place where like the rocks are stacked up, and it's these gigantic rocks. And we went to that side. You also have like Victoria Falls and many other places in Africa, and that's just one country. Like you have many places that you can go and check for, see for yourself. So hopefully one day you guys can pay us a visit and get to see the beauty.
Yeah, I want to know who do you send your messages to in your music? And who needs to hear the message that you send in your music?
I mean, like starting off, I would write like songs about what I felt. Whether it's love, whether it's unity. But I send my songs in the currently, to Sudan, to my home country, to Africa, to the world as well. Like that term, especially one love, is one of the most powerful, like words that has been, like
Being said, yeah.
especially with Bob Marley, obviously, whose music like you can listen to everywhere. You see his face drawn everywhere. If you go to Zanzibar, you'll see like Bob Marley drawn. You'll see a cafe with like the flag up there. You know what I'm saying? So I think the music is kind of touching the current situation. I mean, like there's obviously so much work to be done, but I feel like we all have a kind of an obligation to like talk about the stuff that's going on, but also uh stay true to the art form as well. Like I wouldn't have had the song being going, especially like the song had gone like big in South Sudan, and shout out to my people in South Sudan. And Sudan was the largest country in Africa in 2011. The two countries separated, but I always believed in the power of unity and in the power of us coming together. So when I went to Juba in 2024, South Sudan, that was my first time, and I said, to after 29 years, I'm back home. I'm from Sudan, but I'm also from South Sudan, and I'm from Eastern Sudan, and I'm from Western Sudan, and I'm from Africa. That's the whole idea. I'm from Nigeria as well. You know, and I'm basically like trying to say like we have some sort of connection. We might not look the same. But it's just what's inside us. Determines how connected we are and how we project our energy out there.
True.
Yeah, real, real, real. How do you feel about artists that don't use their platform to spread any positive message? They just focus on, let's say, like in some genres, it's just like violence. They glamorize violence, they glamorize the wealth and the affluence and the use of drugs, alcohol, and stuff. How do you feel about those kinds of artists?
I mean, for me personally, I think like at some point, 20 years down the line, 30 years down the line, you'll always have something that, like won't be like something that won't be relevant. And when you're getting older, obviously, like, your influences change. So at one day, the bug is gonna hit you. The bug is gonna come at you and be like, yo, what's up? What did you do? Because I feel like we all live on this earth for a certain time. So I mean, like we might as well use our platform, alongside what we're doing. If you have a something that you want to put out there, that's fine. But make sure you also tap into what's going on in the world, because we're all humans. I can't turn a blind eye to what's going on in Sudan or in Congo or wherever. Like I have to be like present with whatever I can in telling that message to people, like yo, there's something going here, check it out. I can't be, from that part of the world and not say anything or any matter actually that that goes out to the whole world. So I feel like what Bob did is kind of, like to have a way of like how we can, make this word like more conscious in a way where like things are happening everywhere, but it's all one problem.
You feel like artists that don't do that, um, don't live up to that social responsibility, are actually doing more harm than good to society on a whole? Like, does their music affect societal change for the negative?
I mean, like being there in Africa, right? The demand for, like good, like good music, like just fun, like good vibes, is definitely needed. I mean, I can't go to a neighborhood in Nairobi and tell them, yo, don't listen to, whoever, or you should listen more of that. Nah, at the end of the day, people are gonna like whatever they like here. So I feel like artists should know exactly what they want to do with their career, and think about it on the long run. Like don't think about it only now. Because now is just it's gonna fade away. So I feel like artists should know exactly what is the end goal, like having a purpose basically. Like what's your purpose on doing this? If you wanna make your neighborhood happy, once in a while. I mean, that's all good. But again, how do you want to stand out when it comes to, like the long jeopardy? Like will people like be like, this artist was, played a pivotal role in this change, whether it was social or political or whatever. So yeah, man, I feel like there is some sort of duty, definitely.
So I want to know, like for example, on the African airwaves, in terms of the radio waves, right? You
Mm.
know, what kind of music do they push on the radio waves? Do they push it music for enjoyment? Conscious music, gospel, make we say, for example, traditional music.
There's definite like different music, but there's a lot of commercial music. There's a lot of
Mhm.
dancehall, a lot of Afrobeat. It's a mix of everything. But again, it depends on where you go.
Conscious
When I
music
went to, what you say?
and conscious music.
Conscious music, definitely, yeah. But it depends on where exactly you're going. Like East Africa, there's definitely a bit of everything you just mentioned. If you go to West Africa, Afrobeat is playing on the radio. There's a lot of great artists coming up as well. So that's being pushed as well. But like there's always that one radio station that will promote that kind of music. But if you look at the mainstream, they have the commercial thing going on mainly. If I wanted, like when I went to South Africa, I'm a piano big in South Africa, so
Dig, dig,
that's kind
dig.
of the main genre. Yeah, that's the main genre. But you have other DJs that love reggae music or love Afrobeat, so they play that as well. So yeah, man, it's
Okay.
a mix.
If you could change something about the music industry, what would you change?
I wouldn't change anything. I would just play a part in like in China, like play my part only. That's what I would do. I mean, like that's the only thing I can do. Like is just like if I start something, and maybe people can get inspired. I feel like I've done my part. But I wouldn't really, be like, yeah, we need to, put more of this or that, because at the end of the day, truth will come to surface. And like that's why you have music that came from like the 70s and 60s still coming up. I mean, I have like a lot of influences, growing up from different artists. I love Stevie Wonder, for instance. And his music is still going until today. You got, obviously, I love Gregory Isaac, when it comes to the love songs that he did way back. So I feel like it's just you playing your part. I feel like that's the best way to put it. If we all play our part and dig deep within us to see how we can uplift our people and our communities, and like really be a vessel for like betterment of the society. I feel like that could go a long way in our lives as artists or songwriters or composers. And it has to come from here. You know what I'm saying? It gotta come from here, man.
Sure.
Yeah, it seems like
Um,
you're speaking from the creative side. I'm asking more specifically towards the business side of the music industry. You think that the industry is good and you're just happy with how things are, like overall?
No, 100%. I think there's obviously there should be more awareness, for what's going on. And I feel like a good example would be an artist whose name is Fuse ODJ. I mean, like, Fuse is a artist from Ghana, and he just dropped a song, and I've been listening to it a lot. And how he's promoting the song is basically like talking about the 54 countries of Africa. And Fuse had one of the biggest hits, Antenna. That song was taken over, like, like the UK, the Africa, it was everywhere. Even when I was in Dubai at that time, I remember going to, like, the concerts, back in the day. Like, I'll see, like, different artists, but now he kind of, took, like, that toll on his shoulder to kind of, like, push what's going on currently. You know what I'm saying? By like dressing, like in the Ghanaian attire, and bringing, going back to the motherland and shooting there. But I kind of, like, realized that early on. It's just like, like how things were changing, and like seeing a lot of mainstream going. I wanted to, start from Africa, because that's where I'm from, and that's where I think, like, the future is. So I think that's what I would change, like more awareness, but again, it comes back to me. Like, let's say I have 5 followers, or 50 million followers, whatever, right? If now I can, like, like, inspire someone, to kind of like follow that lead again, that kind of changes, whether they're artists or songwriters. It's not bad to do something, with what's going on. I mean, I still do love songs. I love love songs. Why not? But again, aside from that, I gotta also do what I feel like is right now, in this, in our time. I hope that answers the question, right?
Yeah, to some extent it does. But I find it like I understand from your perspective, you want the music to be diffused and spread all over the world. But personally, I feel like there's a lot of changes to be made in the music industry because there are changes being made behind the scene. Because over the time, music has evolved to a point from vinyl to CD players to thumb drive, from me using LimeWire to download and burn a song. Now there is the world of streaming, for example. That has been
Yeah,
a
yeah.
drastic change for music, and it has affected a lot of artists. When there are artists around the world saying that streaming isn't profitable for them and most of the money is being made on the back end of streaming, I would
Mm.
personally want that to change because I feel like the creative should be compensated to a level where it is fair to them.
A
For
bit
example,
more, yeah.
like imagine getting on 1 million streams and only getting, well, you probably have you probably have this and getting like 5K at the end of it. It doesn't seem justifiable when that all chunks down. You know what I'm saying? Whereas before, if you sold 5,000 CDs, you'd get more than 5K. You
Yeah,
get what
you
I'm
feel
saying?
happy.
So it's like your music is being consumed more, but you're not seeing the rewards to that level of consumption anymore. So that's one thing I would change. Which brings me to my next question to you is how do you feel that streaming has affected your music? Has it done it for the positive or towards the negative?
I mean, honestly, like, maybe you can call me, a bit old school, but I never really, like, paid so much attention to that. I feel like my biggest reward has always been impacting people. I 100% agree with you, in terms of that. Like, artists should obviously get, a fair, pay for whatever they do for the work, for their songs being up there, and, like, their name being used or whatever. But again, for me personally, if you look at my YouTube channel, like, I don't have the biggest numbers, right? But I do have a story to tell. I have a message, and I don't want that to drive me away from what I came to do. You know what I'm saying?
True, true.
Obviously, you gotta survive as well, and that's another way to, like, break it down. But when it comes to me personally, I feel like there should be, like, obviously, kind of, a fair kind of, treatment. Especially, like, there's a lot of music coming out now, a lot of artists emerging, so we need to kind of like show them, like, a way where, like, you're safe here, rather than, like, like, don't follow this path. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Mhm.
why I feel like my biggest reward has always been like going to the studio and then creating, songs and performing live to the people. And I feel like that kind of kept me in a way where like I'm always focused on, like what's the next record and not like when is the next, this or that. I mean, everyone has obviously their different opinion on like how they want to run their career. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it wasn't about like I have a million or 5 million or 100 million streams. That's why I like I listen to a lot of Chronix music. Like I'm a big fan as well, and hopefully through this Chronix, left, right, that's all. Big up, man.
That's all just a come.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to
Chronix,
know.
big up, man.
I want to know. When a promoter books Jindi for a show, right?
Yeah.
Are there any, for example, stipulations that they give you? Like, for example,
Promoter
that they
said
want
that's
to.
ready. I put it on Yaro's fight. No, no, I'm joking.
Cooler, why? Cooler.
Bro, honestly, most of the promoters
Yeah.
I've been working with for a long time has been like friends and family to me. You know what I'm saying? If things are going like this side, they'll tell me straight up. So I do like always appreciate that honest conversation. You know what I'm
True.
saying? Because it wouldn't feel right for me to go on stage and have my band members and my sound engineer and my, VJ and, everybody, whatever, like who I'm bringing with, like, like feel some type of way. So I kind of always try to have a, like a good relationship and work with people on the long term so we can all, like be on one side at the end.
Mm, I get what you're
So
saying, bro.
yeah, man. So I think for the past, 6 years, reggae show, like like I'm doing festivals and stuff. It has always been like, like what are you, getting from this show? Or like, will you be like able to get the band there and get like enough pay for everybody, or you should cut it down and all that? But I mean, my joy obviously comes from like touring with all my band members that started with me initially, and that has been one of the challenges as well, is to do this show with the three beats or all them things. But I feel like you you if you're confident enough, I'm sure one day like your vision will come to life. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to having everyone together and the show that you always wanted. And yeah, I feel like just like having good relations with people and like having the ideology again of like building together, because I feel like that's the secret comes in like us coming together. Whatever if you're a radio, like you work on the radio, or you're a promoter, or you're a DJ. If we just get everybody together and like sit down as a team, I think we'll be able to overcome a lot of things. But it's just about like people being scattered everywhere, like this group and that group and these guys and whatever. I think that kind of keeps people in a like in a way where it's driving you from the art form. And yeah, I feel like even me, like personally, when I started writing music, it's so different from now. I mean, I recorded my whole album in Lagos, Nigeria, in 2024.
Yeah.
So me recording the whole project was a like the dope experience.
Question: you just said that you perform with a band. Do you think it's better to perform with a band versus with tracks?
Yeah. Which one thing is better?
For me, definitely band. I would choose any day. I mean, I've done kind of, you have like going to a club and, doing your set with a DJ, but there's nothing like having that groove, with the band. So, 100%. And if it's a nine piece with the whole section, let's get it.
What's the biggest band, like, what's the biggest amount of band members you've worked with on like a show? And how was that?
I mean, like a nine-piece band, and that was one of the best, like, biggest shows I've done. That was in 2022, during the expo, which is like a place with like all different people coming from different parts of the world. So that's definitely memorable. I did that, in memory of my, my beloved dad who passed away, and Mr. Fox.
Condolences.
So
Like
rest in peace.
kind of, yeah, he's one of my like inspirations as well. Kind me to kind of, showed me to always follow your passion and dreams, but also be mindful of the people, and make sure you treat people, you know, like in a way where like you wanna be treated as well. So I feel like I kind of have a lot of friends from India, from South Africa, from Nigeria, from Jamaica, Trinidad, wherever, and that it's only one thing that matters in this world is respect, like respect you have and how you carry out yourself. I think that also reflects back to you. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
What do you want to be remembered for? How do you want people to remember Jindi?
I want people to remember me as someone who made them, like smile a bit, like when things were rough, like
No.
I want to be remembered as someone who, kind of walked this life with dignity and make sure that we're all united, so that's kind of been my mission as well, is to like go back home, Sudan, and like see how I can basically tell the story of our people, and
Mm,
hopefully one day, that dream comes true,
true.
Yeah. Much respect, Jindi.
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah, I feel like thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
I
you
will
a lot.
close out the show.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, this time with you singing your song as the outro. If you want,
Yeah,
run
yeah,
it.
yeah. If you want,
Yeah, man.
the outro, that would
One
be nice.
hand, Sudan. One love to the world.
So this one is
All right,
called
One
this,
love.
this one love to them, but one love to the world, everybody.
Yeah, man.
One love, one heart, one destiny, Sudan. One love, one heart, one destiny, Sudan. Every time I sit down and pray that my people see the light one day. Love to this out can be on my way. Mashifit tarik mga Justice is what we fight for. Pray that my people see the light one day. Love to the north, I'll be on my way. Mashifit tarik mga One love, one heart, one destiny, Sudan.
One love. Don't bad, multiply quickly. One internet. One love, Sudan.
Good.
Yeah, man.
Big up my people, man.
Shout out
Thank
to
you for
Yeah,
having
man.
me once
shout
again.
out
Enough
to
respect,
Africa.
man. Enough
Yeah,
respect.
man.
And yeah,
Guys,
man, we
don't
keep
forget
it.
to yeah, man. Keep it, guys that were listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out Jindy's music.
Yeah, man. Where can we find your music, Jindi? Tell them.
Everywhere, man. Just type into this, man. You might find me in your balcony, man. You never know.
Yeah, yeah, man. Check out Jindy's music.
Nice, nice one. Yeah, man.
People, man.
Yeah, man.